They thought I was just a quiet American girl standing in the corner of a powerful elite party. No one knew why my own brother kept me hidden. No one knew why I was never invited to his new rich life. And no one expected that one moment from my past would turn their luxury celebration into complete silence. By the end of that night, every glass stopped clinking. Every smile disappeared. And the most powerful family in the room realized they had been living beside a secret they should never have ignored. I am Emily Carter. I was born in the United States in a small coastal town where people knew your name before they knew your story. My childhood was simple but not weak. My father taught law at a local college. My mother worked in community aid. From a young age, I learned that power did not always come from money. Sometimes it came from knowledge. Sometimes it came from silence. My older brother Michael was different. He wanted more. Bigger cities. Bigger names. Bigger doors to open. He left home early and chased success like it was oxygen. I stayed back. I studied quietly. I worked in places no one noticed. I built a life that did not need applause. Years passed. Michael climbed fast. He married into one of the most powerful families on the East Coast. A family that controlled politics, real estate, and reputations. They hosted parties where people measured worth by who you stood next to. Michael changed after that. He stopped calling home. He stopped mentioning me. I later understood why. In that world, every detail was inspected. Backgrounds were investigated. Pasts were weighed. And mine was something they would never understand. Michael once told me on a late-night call, "Emily, it is better if they do not know you. You do not fit their image." I laughed then. I thought he was embarrassed of his small-town sister. I did not argue. I never begged. But deep inside I knew it was not shame. It was fear. Because my past was not ordinary. It was powerful in a way money could not control. The invitation came. Unexpectedly. A formal message from Michael. A major celebration at a private estate. His in-laws' anniversary. He wrote only one line. "Please come but stay low." I almost did not go. But something told me this night mattered. The estate was massive. White lights. Black suits. Women dressed like royalty. The air smelled like confidence. I walked in alone. No designer gown. No dramatic entrance. Just a simple black dress. I could feel the eyes pass over me without stopping. Michael saw me and froze. His smile was tight. He whispered, "Please do not talk much. Just stay near the wall." I nodded. The powerful family moved through the room like they owned the air. Senators. Business tycoons. Media giants. They did not know me. And that was exactly how Michael wanted it. Then something unexpected happened. An older man stopped in front of me. His posture straight. His eyes sharp. He studied my face like he was reading a familiar page. He asked softly, "Emily Carter." The room did not hear. But my brother did. I answered, "Yes." The man's expression changed. Respect replaced curiosity. He turned to the hosts. "Do you know who this young woman is?" Laughter bubbled nearby. Someone joked that she must be a distant cousin. The man shook his head. "No. She is the reason a federal case collapsed 10 years ago. She is the witness who refused to be bought. She is the name written in sealed documents across Washington." Silence spread faster than music. My brother looked like the ground had disappeared. I did not smile. I did not explain. I simply stood there. Because the past they were about to discover was not something I ever needed to announce. And that was only the beginning of the night. The silence in that room was heavier than any argument. People who controlled rooms with laughter now avoided eye contact. The music kept playing, but no one heard it. Michael stood beside me frozen. His powerful in-laws stared at him like strangers. They had built empires by knowing everything about everyone. And yet the most important detail had been standing beside them unnoticed. The older man who recognized me was Thomas Reynolds, a former federal prosecutor, a name that once decided the fate of billion-dollar cases. He did not raise his voice. He did not dramatize. That made it worse. He said calmly, "Emily Carter was involved in a case that reached higher than courts. She was offered protection, money, silence, and influence. She refused all of it. Her testimony changed how evidence was handled in high-level investigations. Whispers started. Not loud, not obvious, but dangerous. Michael finally spoke. She is my sister. That confession landed harder than my past. His wife stepped back slowly, her eyes searching his face for an explanation. You never told us. Michael swallowed. Because I knew what would happen. I remembered everything then. 10 years ago, I was a graduate intern assisting on a financial ethics project. Nothing glamorous. Just data and reports. But patterns began appearing. Funds disappearing. Names repeating. Shell companies leading back to powerful donors. One night, a man visited my apartment. He knew my name, my routine, my family. He offered safety, money, a future if I stayed quiet. I reported it instead. What followed was months of pressure, surveillance, threats disguised as concern, and finally a sealed hearing. I never appeared on television. I was never interviewed. But documents were rewritten because of my refusal. That kind of integrity does not fit into elite parties. Back at the celebration, the host finally spoke. Why was she hidden? Michael looked at me, then at them. Because her past could destroy alliances. I corrected him quietly. Because my past exposes them. That was the moment the party truly ended. Guests began leaving. Phones came out. Messages were sent. Damage control started. Michael's father-in-law approached me. A man feared by politicians. He asked, "What do you want?" I answered honestly, "Nothing." That confused him more than anger would have. I did not come for revenge. I did not come for recognition. I came because I was invited. Michael followed me outside later. His voice cracked. I tried to protect you. I looked at him. You tried to protect yourself. That truth hurt us both. But the night was not over yet. Because one person in that room had been involved in the old case. And he had recognized me too. He was pale, sweating, and moving toward the exit. I watched him leave. And I knew. My past had just walked back into my present. I did not chase the man. I did not raise my voice. Power does not need to run. I followed him with my eyes as he disappeared through the marble doors. Thomas Reynolds appeared beside me again. His voice slow. He recognized you because he knows what you represent. Outside, the night air felt cold. Michael stood somewhere behind me but said nothing. For the first time in his life, he did not know how to fix a situation. Inside the house, panic spread quietly. Powerful people do not panic loudly. They panic in whispers, in glances, in sudden exits. The man who left was Victor Hale, a financier, a donor. A man who built wealth by standing just far enough from crimes to stay clean. 10 years ago, his name was buried deep in sealed files. He thought time had erased it. It had not. Thomas spoke again. He is calling lawyers right now. But the problem is not the law. It is memory. The family hosting the party gathered in a private corner. I could see them through the glass. Faces tight. Hands moving. Calculations happening. Michael's wife approached me alone. Her confidence was gone. She asked, "Why did you never speak?" I answered, "Because truth does not beg for attention." That answer followed her back into the room like a shadow. I remembered the courtroom then. No cameras. Just wood benches and quiet power. I remembered how Victor Hale never looked at me directly. As if ignoring me would erase me. Now he could not ignore me. A younger guest approached hesitantly. "Are you the one from the ethics reform files?" I nodded. Word spread faster than money ever could. The host returned. His voice controlled. "We need to talk." We went into a side room. The kind where decisions are made before they reach the public. He said, "You understand what exposure like this could do." I said, "So did I when I was 23. That ended the negotiation before it started. Michael finally broke. His voice loud enough to shake. "I hid you because they would never accept you." I looked at him calmly. "They accepted you without knowing who you stood beside." Silence. That was when the phone rang. Thomas answered. Listened. Then looked at me. Federal investigators reopened a closed review. Your name triggered an audit trail. The powerful family realized then. This was no longer about a party. This was about survival. Michael's wife began to cry quietly. Not because of love, but because of reputation. I felt nothing. No triumph. No anger. Only clarity. Because the truth does not rush. It waits. And it had waited 10 years for this room. The house that once felt untouchable now felt fragile. Like glass pretending to be stone. People who arrived together were leaving alone. Old friends avoided each other. New enemies were being identified. Power does not disappear. It rearranges. Michael sat on the steps outside, his face in his hands. The life he built on approval was collapsing. Not because of something I did, but because of something he hid. I sat beside him. For a moment we were just siblings again. He whispered. I was afraid they would use you. I answered. They already tried. That was the truth he never wanted to hear. Inside the estate, Thomas was speaking with investigators. Quietly. Legally. Irreversibly. Victor Hale had vanished. Phones went unanswered. Assistants stopped replying. That always meant one thing. Damage was being contained. Michael's father-in-law confronted me again. This time without authority. Why did you stay silent all these years? I looked at him. Because noise protects the guilty. Silence exposes them. He had no answer. That night memories returned. The safe house. The anonymous threats. The offers that came disguised as generosity. I stayed silent because I learned something early. When you refuse to play their game, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable people scare the powerful. Michael's wife approached me one last time. Her voice small. Can this be stopped? I told her. The truth does not stop. It arrives. That was when the first confirmation came. Victor Hale's financial network was frozen. Accounts flagged. Partnerships questioned. People who smiled beside him hours earlier were now denying knowing his name. The family realized they had invited the past into their home. And it was not leaving quietly. Michael stood and faced me. Tears in his eyes. I thought hiding you would protect us. I touched his arm. Hiding the truth only delays it. For the first time he nodded. Not in agreement, but in understanding. The party was officially over. But the consequences were just beginning. And by morning, nothing would be the same. Morning came quietly. But the world it arrived in was already different. News did not break loudly. It leaked. Financial irregularities. Reopened audits. Unnamed sources. That was enough. By noon, Victor Hale's name was everywhere. Not in headlines yet, but in places that mattered more. Boardrooms. Legal offices. Government calls. The powerful family woke up to messages they could not ignore. Meetings canceled. Investors nervous. Friends suddenly unavailable. Michael sat across from me in the empty house. The decorations from the party looked ridiculous now. Like props from a play that failed. He said, I lost everything in one night. I looked at him calmly. No, you lost what was built on fear. That truth hurt. But it was clean. Thomas Reynolds called. Victor Hale had agreed to cooperate. Silence was no longer an option for him. The irony was heavy. The man who tried to buy my silence now depended on truth to survive. Michael asked me, what happens to you now? I smiled slightly. The same thing that always happened. Nothing. I did not want interviews. I did not want recognition. I declined every request. Because my power was never visibility. It was independence. The family tried to apologize. Not with words, but with offers. Connections. Protection. I refused all of it. I packed my bag that evening. Michael walked me to the door. For the first time, he did not look powerful. He looked honest. He said, I should have been proud of you. I hugged him. You still can be. I left the estate alone. No cameras. No applause. Weeks later, reforms were announced quietly. Policies adjusted. Names removed from boards. No one mentioned Emily Carter. And that was exactly right. Because real influence does not need a stage. Somewhere another powerful party was being planned. Another secret was being hidden. And somewhere someone remembered. There was once a quiet American girl who stood in a room full of power and did not bend. That memory was enough.